everybody, Justin All here, Justin All Motorsports, 13 Fabrication as well. Haven't posted in a while. Need to get working on this thing, but I have a customer's Jeep LJ in the shop right now, and currently doing a Clayton long arm kit on it, and that's taking priority right now. I got the new transmission from Maximum Transmission. Chris built me a 480 that I know I mentioned that I picked it up down at Hammer, so I have it here. I just need to knock out some customer work first before jumping in back into this thing. Got quite a bit of work to do. I got a laundry list of things. Just off the top of my head, some of the quick things are obviously transmission, rewrap the exhaust, rebuild the transfer case, get the shocks off and get them rebuilt and revalved, and then start shock tuning once I get those back. Probably reseal the front diff. There's an issue with the harness. When I had it out recently, only half the work lights want to work, so it's probably I just pulled the ground apart or I pulled the power wire apart, one of the two, because they all feed off of the same wire. So I just got fine. I know where it's broken out in the harness, and I just need to get to that splice and figure out what happened. I'll probably pull the harness out, ohm it out, and figure out what's going on with it. But yeah, let me take you over to the Jeep and I'll walk you guys through what I've been doing over there. So got all the front brackets welded and just spray painted in place. It put in a new truss from Clayton. New truss that goes over the axle housing, and then welded their upper link mount into place. Not really a huge fan of square links. Don't like them. Another thing I don't like, they're all right-hand threads, so it's going to be a horror to square this car up once I do the rears. That is the rears right there. I got those tacked into place. Yeah, the square links and all right-hand threads make it a royal bitch. Pardon my language. The upper link is a right and a left-hand thread, but all the lower links are all right-hand threads. So not much I can really do about it besides just having to drop a link out every time you need to square a car up, which in theory is great if you actually have set measurements of where everything needs to be at and everything is perfect. But this kit, the instructions are cool, but they don't give you a baseline measurement on what your link should start out at. They give you your bracket place and whatnot, and then that's it. And wasn't really a huge fan of that, but it's what the customer provided, and that's what he's getting. Yeah, I have the rear end out, and I got the frame brackets cut off on, they said the rear. Have to cut off the upper link mounts on the axle themselves and then install their truss, which their truss is this guy. Oh, hope I point the camera right. Don't mind the trash. Need to clean up through here, but it's a interesting truss. Literally just pieces of square tubing but welded together. I'm not really sure how and why they chose to do it this way. These brackets have no top plate on them, gusseting anything, or any of the sorts. But that essentially goes where this guy's at and where the other one is at over there. I got to cut both those off. It goes up over. And then these chassis mounts are interesting too because the upper links don't weld to the frame. It literally welds off of just this lower plate here, all the way around, and obviously that little piece that up and around there. But yeah, it doesn't like tie into the frame with the upper links or anything. I don't really quite get it. Not bad mouthing the company. They obviously make a lot of these, and they sell a lot, and otherwise they wouldn't be making them this way. But I personally would be building them a little bit different, but to each their own. Like I said, customer got this. This is what he wanted. So yeah, instructions are cool. They have some CAD drawings, but CAD drawings, like, they want a bracket 6.058 of an inch away from the center of a factory skid plate hole. That's cool. Easy to do when you're just drawing it on a piece of paper. You can get as pretty close to it as you can. And yeah, had to break out the dicom, the caliper, and all that stuff to get to the measurements they want. The axle truss is another interesting thing. Wait, wow. Let me flip this way. Very interesting concept how they want it. Certain angles, 7 degrees or 12 degrees, and standard setup 5.5 inches of lift. To set the pinion angle will be approximately 19 degrees. If you're using a high pinion axle, then the angle will approximately be 5 degrees less, which means the truss should be welded on at 7 degrees. So yeah, it's interesting. Very, very interesting. I feel like this is a little much for this, but guy wants it, guy gets it. And again, the rear links are square. At least the upper links are a left-hand thread and a right-hand thread, but the lower links are all right-hand threads. Don't quite get it. And yeah, the boxes that the transmission is in for a race car is what I'm using for a workbench currently while I do this Jeep. So hopefully get this Jeep knocked out. I don't know. Started it before I left for Arizona, which, yeah, Arizona didn't go very well for me. I had a lot of knee problems. I ended up doing some tire drills, some pit drills on the 14th, and today's the 1st for reference. So on the 14th, I did some tire drills. That following Sunday night, my knee swelled up and developed some massive infection inside of them. And yeah, did 10 days of antibiotics, spent a day in the ER, multiple doctor's visits. I have a follow-up appointment tomorrow, and then I have a appointment on the 8th with a orthopedic surgeon to figure out also what's going on. No one really knows exactly what's going on. They think it's pre-patella bursitis, which means that, like, that sac of fluid, the bursa sac, whatever it's called, on top of your knee, it got like either inflamed or ruptured or something, and my body was pissed off. And the fact I don't have an immune system because of the Remicade infusions I do for my Crohn's disease makes everybody freak out over the fact that I had an infection in my body. So doctors were all pissed and freaked out. They didn't want me to go to Arizona. I told them, you know what, give me antibiotics. I'm going to go anyway. So I ended up going to Arizona. All I did was pretty much run timing for the trophy truck team, Johnny and JP, and couldn't change tires. Luckily, they had enough guys to be able to make it work. But yeah, I was pretty much stuck to not being able to walk and hobbling around everywhere with a knee that was like twice the size of what it should be. So yeah, it was an enjoyable time for me, but made it through. My knee's better. I'm walking around a lot better now. Swelling's kind of comes and goes, but it's what it is. Again, work on that before working on this. After that Jeep, there's going to be a pre-runner. The pre-blah, blah, blah, blah. Try it again. The pre-runner that I had in originally before Hammers. He's gonna bring it back for me to do the last of the 4-link. Yeah, he wants me to do a true 4-link on the back, that bigger fuel cell, and a couple other miscellaneous things. So that'll be a good chunk of money coming my way to help pay off the debt from, again, that thing. So yeah, again, just plugging along, building stuff, trying to do cool shit. Just had a little hiccup with my knee. Kind of plural because my right one was the worst. The left one is giving me issues too, but not as bad as the right. So either way, super screwed up, but body is just not having it. So yeah, but back to the shop, back to building shit. Hopefully, can get this thing turned around pretty quick. And yeah, my goal is to get it out by Wednesday. Hopefully, get the axle truss on tomorrow night and get everything painted, and then Tuesday put the links and everything in it and finish the skid plate, because the skid plate's gonna have to get adjusted a little bit to fit with this new long arm kit. So yeah, keep at it. So I did absolutely horrible about taking videos while working on this Jeep, but this thing it's done. I gotta fix the brake line tomorrow. Once it's either tomorrow or Friday, whenever the part gets in. But I nicked it when I was grinding off the old tabs. I nicked it, and then I moved it once, and then it started leaking. So got to replace that for a customer. That was my mistake, but let me flip this around and show you everything. Again, not a super huge fan of this Clayton long arm kit, but obviously they sell enough of them to where they must do okay with them. But I just personally don't like how some of the brackets are, and that's just my own personal opinion. But neither here nor there. It's like I said, it's what the customer had and what he asked me to install, and that's what I did. And I kind of gave him a heads up on some of the potential issues that I foresee, but if it happens, at least I gave him a heads up on it and told him. But I said Clayton obviously sells a lot of these, so I don't know. But let me flip it around and show you what I did. So there's a lot of hoses going on here. Let me get under here. Truss got put on. The factory, I'm assuming those are all the vacuum pumps. I relocated those. The Clayton kit has them like get off this bracket and turn sideways and mount towards like onto the skid plate. I didn't like that, so I was able to weld a couple studs on, move the whole thing back like 3 inches, and use the factory bracket and put it right in the same spot. Again, I think I had mentioned to you guys, I don't really like how these brackets don't like tie into anything. There's nothing like back here that ties in the upper link bracket. The upper link bracket just sits on this already welded by them like bracket, which, oh well, again, that's theirs. There are things. This truss, again, there's no actual support to it, so I just don't like the fact that only is going off of 2, 4, 6, like 16 inches of weld in that whole setup, because that's just essentially 2x2 box tubing. So 2 inches front, 2 inches back, 2 inches either side. That's 4 per side. No, that's 8 inches per side. So 2 sides, 1, 2, 16 inches of weld. I don't like these brackets. If you look, they're not even at the same height, but they're one's higher than the other one. This one, as you can see, a little bit higher than this one. Just things like that I nitpick on. I don't really, I don't know. And again, obviously you see me pinching off the rubber line because I nicked it right on back in there. So that was when I was cleaning off all that crap off the axle.
Lower links could all be use a right and a left hand thread, so you don't have to drop a joint out when you have to try to square the car up. The uppers are right and left, but it's weird. The the lowers are all Johnny joints, right? Upper is a Johnny joint, but then the frame side is a bushing joint. Actually, no, I lied. The This side's all bushing joint too. Bushing joint, bushing joint, Johnny joint, Johnny joint, and then all the front is Johnny joint, and then Johnny joint and Johnny joint, right? Why do they use a bushing on these ones, but not those ones? But I don't know. But again, square links on the front, right hand threads on all the lowers. They're already pre-welded out. They didn't give me any eye-to-eye measurements. Kind of had to figure it out and guess on my own, which kind of sucked, but is what it is. Got it pretty close. Got it squared up within like a 16th of an inch. So that's pretty damn good for a tape measure. And driveline angles are right where they should be at. I got the front one. I kind of gave him just a tad bit more positive caster. Not 100% sure it's not going to vibrate on him, the front end. So I told him if it does vibrate, just let me know. And it's a quick, easy crank out the upper link. But the upper link on that side is funky because it has a lot of thread sticking out. Let me see if I can do this all backwards. So as you can see, well, let's get to, yeah, you see all that thread sticking out, right? None of the other links do, but for some reason the upper does, and that's to even get it at the caster I have it at right now. I think I have it at about 10 degrees. But yeah, I'm worried about getting it out even more and that messing that up or making them too far out and there's not enough strength of the rod end inside the bung. Again, not my kit, but that's how it went together and how it kind of worked out. So yeah, this thing, hopefully once I get the brake line, either tonight is Wednesday night, so hopefully I get it Thursday or Friday. And then I ordered it from AutoZone, so it's funny enough, Jeeps. Only nice thing about them, everything's off the shelf, so I can literally order the whole brake line, the rubber line, and the hard line all the way to the caliper, and it's already pre-made, and I don't have to bend or flare anything, which I'm not opposed to not flaring because I hate flaring. Like metal lines, absolutely can't stand it. But yeah, that's that. It's a wrap. Again, sorry, didn't really take shit for videos on this, but at least talk to you guys a lot. I don't know, somebody out there likes to hear my voice. My wife does, I know that. But yeah, until the next one. Hopefully the next video will be of me doing the transmission in the race car, because that's my game plan this weekend, is to try to get the other transmission out and the new one put back in. And then yeah, I'd really like to get my car back driving and go shock tuning it in it and all the things. So trying to lock in a date with Phil up at Liberty Mountain Fab in Gardnerville. Probably be sometime in May to get out there and do a shock tuning session with him. So yeah, see what happens. Hopefully I can make it work. Hoping the car works good again. So it'll be the 5th time the car's been driven, besides because I did 3 times, 3 trips to Barstow in it, Vegas to Reno, and then this would make the 5th time me driving that car. So yeah, let's just hope I get it, do everything right, and put it all back together, and hopefully be testing and tuning and get the car ready for 2027 King of the Hammers. So it's really hard not racing, and it, like, I've raced every single year. I've done something, and me not racing is kind of driving me insane. But the bright side is I'm getting to spend more time with my family, get to be around my kid a lot more, I'm getting more work done in the shop, getting more customer stuff, and building my name in the brand, and which is really cool. I know it's kind of confusing. I have Justin Hall Motorsports' YouTube page. The shop is 13 Fabrication. Like the Justin Hall Motorsports is the racing side of things. Obviously, 13 Fabrication is the fab shop, and it's a location where I do all the work for the motorsports side of things too. And yeah, the end goal is to eventually not have a day job and just work on Jeeps, race cars, whatever. And as far as I know, I think there's maybe 2 to 3 people in the South Bay that do what I do as far as can install lift kits on Jeeps to like full custom one-off suspension, roll cages, bumpers, you name it, I can do it all. There's only a handful of guys that can do it that actually have a legit shop, like then the company's an actual like LLC and all that stuff. I know myself. There's Ryan Egan at Egan Fabworks, JP at Total Racing Solutions, but I know he's gonna be moving to Arizona. I think Mike Schaefer's still around, but if I'm not mistaken, he's up in Oakland area. Um, I think those are the major players down this way. So yeah, support small businesses. This guy, so I can not have a day job and just build cool stuff all the time. That'd be rad. That's my goal. It's my goal in life. Next to somehow getting inducted into the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. That's my other goal. But that's a whole conversation for another time. Like business wise and like my own personal like goals in the shop is I want this to be my career. But it's hard to leave the city job. It's hard to just say, you know what, cool, I'm done. I'm gonna go work and invest all my time, money into the shop. So I got a family support and things to think about outside of that and outside of the shop. So if I was single doing all that, I'd probably do it in a heartbeat, but I can't do that when I have a family. I got to be responsible. So being responsible, working nights and weekends out here, essentially second job, and yeah, just doing work, working on Jeeps. Right there, Jeeps, Toyotas, pre-runners, Ultra 4 cars, rock crawlers, samurais, you name it. I've worked on everything. My truck, my pickup truck, other people's pickup trucks. I've done solid axle swap on the Duramax, which is really cool. I'd highly suggest getting the WFO kit because that's what I installed. Awesome kit. Like it was so simple to install. A lot of grinding and cutting off all IFS stuff, but amazing kit. But yeah, so G project done. I probably won't do any other follow-up videos. Maybe take some photos of it and post it on the Instagram page. And yeah, so on to the next one, guys. Sorry for not taking many install videos. I was too busy cussing and trying to figure out what these guys wanted for their kit and where things needed to be at. So I don't know. Now that I've done one, I could probably do it a lot faster. So this was just the first Clayton kit I've installed. So like I said, now that I know how it needs to be done, I could probably do it no problem. But it was kind of a pain in the ass figuring it out and figuring out what I needed to cut off, what I didn't need to cut off, figuring out the exact measurements of the links on what gets it close a starting point before having to be able to square the whole thing up. Yeah, it was a lot, but so well, it's all done. So, yep. See you guys later.